Christy was an ordinary teenager, but she hated her stepfather.
Oh, shit.
Paul?
Well.
Hello? Mom? I caught him cheating on you.
Miss Bull asked me to pick her up at her house because she couldn't get to the agency.
That's bullshit.
It became an obsession with her.
Hi, Christy.
In Michael Winner's new thriller, Scream for Help.
I'm upset because my stepfather just tried to murder my mother. Paul did it. I know he did.
Christy, stop.
He fixed it to kill Mom.
Christy, don't talk like that.
You've been crazy to get Paul Fox ever since he married your mother.
Nobody believed her. Imagination or fact? She had to find out.
Janie, please help me.
What were they doing?
Fucking. What? Yeah, you have to see it, so when I tell my mom, you can back me up. Come on.
Hey, slow down.
I'm trying. The gas pedal stopped.
Hit the brake.
He did this. Paul Fox. He fixed this car so it'd kill Mom. Don't believe me. Just wait until he kills you.
She wouldn't give up. She followed him, hounded him, spied on him. She was determined to expose him. But instead, she came face to face with a new terror.
Hi.
Alone and afraid, at the mercy of ruthless killers, it was too late to scream for help. Can she escape the terror that invaded her home? See Scream for Help, the new nightmare from Michael Winner, director of Death Wish.
Hey folks, we are back with another edition of Unfinished Business Television. And what are we bringing you? One of your favorite things. A deep dive episode where we take a look at a film from recent past or past. And we give it a second look because we weren't around to review it. But also give you a deeper look into the film, its making, its themes, whatever. And, you know, it's usually questionable in quality. I am your host, Jeff Galshaw at Unfinished B2. And with me, as always, is Andre Joseph of AJ Epics Productions.
Chicken is good. I like chicken.
And this week, we are taking a look at the 1984, I wish I could say classic, but it's not, thriller Scream for Help. It was directed by Michael Winner, written by Tom Fright Night Holland, and it stars a bunch of actors who went on to be more character actors more than stars. But we have Rachel Kelly, David Brooks, Marie Masters, Rocco Sisto, Lolita Lowry, love that name, by the way, Corey Parker, who some of you might remember from some sitcoms in the 90s, Sandra Clark, and Tony S. Sebold. Okay, this film is basically almost like a Nancy Drew mystery where a young girl, well, a teenage girl, believes that the man that her mother married is trying to kill her mother for her money because he stole her away from her husband, the daughter's father, who we never see in this whole movie, even though she thinks that this dude's trying to kill, but never goes to him. And throughout the film, we see her basically being a detective, following him around, getting evidence against him, and the many ploys that he uses, because, spoiler, he is trying to kill her. And this being a Michael Winner film, he can't help but make it exploitive. You know, this is a movie that would probably more play, let's say, on Lifetime as a TV movie, or could have easily been more for a teen movie because, again, you have Tom Holland who wrote it, and it was supposed to be him working with Richard Franklin, who he worked with on Cloak and Dagger, which did not have any sex scenes in it. So, I felt like it might have been more of an innocent, you know, PG-13 tale if they had decided to collaborate again. But being that Michael Winner is in this, the girl, okay, this is spoiler alerts throughout the whole film. The girl's female best friend who was pregnant when she got killed, you know, before she knows it, she's sleeping with this girl's boyfriend in a sex scene. And also, Lolita Laurie's character, Brenda, who is having the affair with this stepfather in question. We see her fully get plowed in 2 scenes, actually, that no one really needed. You know, there is a censored version on YouTube that actually works best if you were going to show it to a kid because it takes out all the naughty stuff except for the cursing. You know, and strangely, this film is scored by John Paul Jones of Led Zeppelin, and you can't tell because it's some of the most generic music. It has that, you know, that TV movie music that dun-dun-dun every time, or a dramatic scene as she rides her bike through the streets. And I don't know if it's written or if it was a performance, but the lead character is our protagonist is so freaking annoying and whiny. She's like a proto Karen before Karens. But the reason I picked this movie is growing up, this used to always play on cable, and it always fascinated me. And I always wondered what the name of it was, and you know, whatever happened to the film. And then finally, I did find out all the facts on this film, and I was just like, since I had never seen like any of the Death Wish movies, so, you know, you and Paul Talbot being such Charles Bronson fans, I started watching Michael Winner's film, and then watching this, I'm like, oh my God, that is just his style. He must make things just super uncomfortable and exploitive, like he doesn't know how. And then even in one of the facts, it says, to really get into the mindset of a teenager, he went around the locations before filming and talked to teenage girls, and a lot of people were uncomfortable with this. But he was friends with the chief of police who told them, oh, he's just doing it for the movie. Sure. So, I have to ask you, Andre, what is your history with the film, or was my suggestion of this film the first time you had ever heard of it?
Your suggestion was the first time I ever heard of it. I mean, listen, I've only known of Michael Winner from the Death Wish movies and maybe The Sentinel with Jeff Goldblum. So I haven't really dug that deep into his filmography. I know there were a couple of movies he did in Europe, a couple of things he did with Roger Moore and a couple of other big name actors back in the day. And, you know, and it was kind of interesting to see that even with all those big films that he did, that he would actually do like this small little thriller in New Rochelle that reminded me a lot of He Knows You're Alone, which was done by our friend Armand Mastroianni, and had that same kind of vibe of, you know, all these unknown actors and playing all the psychological elements. And that was the thing too, was that it was supposed to be the way, I guess, Tom Holland was trying to present this script was to really emphasize the psychological thriller aspects and not just make it like an exploitive slasher thriller. But Michael Winner being Michael Winner, boy, he loves to up the ante when it comes to violence, sex, nudity, and, you know, just his very infamous history with all these movies. Even the chick from Star Trek Next Generation who was in Death Wish 3 wishes him to go to hell, which who knows where he is these days after he passed away years ago. Yeah, this is wow. The acting, yeah, it is. I guess that's why some of these guys end up doing mostly soap operas after this. There's no stars made out of this movie. It is incredibly violent, incredibly shocking, and not necessarily in a scary way, just disturbing. And, you know, just the Nancy Drew aspect of it, it feels like an R-rated Nancy Drew movie. What can I tell you? It's got that whole thing going on there. And I don't know what else to say. I mean, I guess, yeah, I agree with the Led Zeppelin music, not really sounding like Led Zeppelin, although there are plenty of artists who have action figures right now at Super 7. I think Led Zeppelin has figures, but I know Motorhead and Anthrax and some of these other guys have reaction figures and t-shirts you can buy right now. If you use the promo code AJ Epics, you can save 7% on anything that you buy on the Super 7 website. So go and check that out and use that promo code and use that link. Anyway, back to our show. Yeah, so this was one that really went under the radar for me. I only heard about it because you brought it up. And yeah, I've only been to New Rochelle once in my life, and I haven't been back since.
Well, see, to me, this is something that I wish like I could program a screening of, because I'm not saying it's that good. It's not. But it's one of those films you have to see to believe, because yeah, and it's, again, a movie that I feel like could only be made in the 80s, you know, because it's too thin to be made in the 90s. They want deeper characters, deeper, you know, like why, reasons why. You'd have to include the father character a little more, you know, why? Because I know this is the stupidest detail, but here's how you can tell it's an 80s movie. Why does a 17-year-old boy have only Sports Stars posters in his room? You know, it's like no bands, you know, and there's a dude who's fucking, okay?
And the girl has a Commodore's record on her wall.
It's the 80s, 84, you know? But yet they could get harassed at school by people who don't look that tough, who they look like they could have taken in a fight. And okay, like David Brooks, I'm sure he's a fine actor, but like I said, he just screams soap opera. Why? I don't understand. I don't know how him and Brenda met. But why would you, like, be bawling this girl in the room and her brother's outside eating SpaghettiOs out of the can? And then you're surprised they're married? And like, what brother's just going to be like, oh, yeah, it's cool, you're bawling some dude at a house we both live in? Because I'd be like, why doesn't Rocco have a lover there, too?
I don't think it's any worse than in the movie Youngblood when Rob Lowe is banging Cynthia Gibb and the woman downstairs is popping a cherry.
Well, I'm sure Michael Winner's pissed that he didn't think of that for this movie. And I like how he calls the stepfather calls her a slut because he walks in on her and the boy trying to have sex. And I take it as a blow to my ego when after we tried to have sex, the next time she sees me, like, I don't think I ever want to have sex again. And it's like, damn, it was that bad? You know? Hey, he's like, hey, and they never tell him Brenda was pregnant. Well, not Brenda, whoever her best friend character was. So that's kind of fucked up of her, even if she's going to take him as a lover. And the ending is so stupid. So he's been hiding out, dripping blood for 2 days, and he's still dripping when he decides, I'm gonna kill you.
That completely threw me off too, because I thought maybe he got burned alive, and it's like, wait, he shows up again? Like, what? Where did he disappear?
I don't know. He was in the sewers of New Rochelle with a gaping wound, apparently. And it's just like, and the mother never puts 2 and 2 together until the end. And how the fuck did she miss an iron bar being on the stairs? I just really felt sorry for a lot of people. I felt sorry for Brenda, who's in an abusive relationship and is the side piece of this dude, you know, and kind of gets the worst death. And I don't know how this plan was going to work with murdering them at the end, because I'm like, too many witnesses, too much weird shit going on at this house for people to just be like, oh, yeah, a burglar broke in and killed them. And
too many people turning on each other at the end.
I think that's because that was the only way for this movie to get exciting again. It was, unless all of a sudden Brenda's gonna be like, "Hey, I'm horny, Paul. Let's fuck," and then that drives the brother crazy. It's like, now I must murder. You know, but it's just that ridiculous. Like if you made this today, it would be camp or a TV movie. It's melodramatic for no reason, really, other than that's the material. And I just guess I was expecting something a bit more from Tom Holland since he's the screenwriter, like something better written. Because I'm just like, will he blame Michael Winner for how this film went down? And what could Richard Franklin really bring to the table with this? Would it have been, the PG-13 version? Would it have had, like you said, more psychological, insight, or was it always written to kind of be like a little tawdry?
I'm sure Richard Franklin would have sanitized it, and I definitely would not have wanted to see Michael Winner's version of Scarface.
No, jeez. I'm like, there would have been a lot more breast, and I can tell you that. And probably, unfortunately, some rape scenes. And that's the only thing I can say about this film. At least Michael Winner didn't make a rape scene. Which I know he was probably tempted, like, okay, what can I put in this scene? And they were like, no, this is New Rochelle. They do not. I was just thankful we didn't have to see Paul and the mother having sex. I'm shocked he didn't. Instead, we just hear her being pleasured. Did you have a favorite scene?
The car chase in New Rochelle where the car's like spinning out of control. I thought that was actually one of the few well-crafted things that he did in that film. Except for when the girl gets hit by the car. That was just like very bizarre how he handled that and shocking. I'd say the only other thing was the scene where the bathroom gets blown up near the end.
Not by smell.
Not by smell, but they probably got that idea for Lethal Weapon 2 from this movie.
Now, would you say, what is the worst part of this movie?
All of these performances, the love scenes, and just how, like, over the top it's written, like as bad as Attack of the Clones level romance. I'm surprised the guys from Riff Tracks haven't done this yet and put it on Tubi.
Like you, they probably have never heard of this film. Like I said,
they don't hear about it.
The only reason I know of the film is because it was on HBO all the time, and I remember as a kid, probably because of the sex scenes, what I shouldn't have been watching. So, I'm like, ooh, Brenda, hey, how you doing? And,
That's a movie made for 42nd Street.
It feels like it, though. I feel like they would have been, it would have gotten heckled during the early scenes because of just how annoying Christy is. And, like, I don't want to make love. I don't want to have sex ever. And it was already bad enough where one of her first lines is, my mother got married, and I think he's trying to kill her. And, like, damn, we haven't even met you yet.
We should remake this movie with Dakota Johnson now.
Oh, she would play the mother? Well, Dakota Johnson's too old to play Christy.
Oh, my God.
It's like, unless it's going to be like, or is she going to be Brenda? She'll be like, hey, this seems familiar from my, 5 Shades of Grey movie. 50 Shades, whatever.
200 Shades.
It'll be like, oh, this is familiar territory. I'm Brenda. And yes, go find a tall Italian stereotype to play your husband. Rocco! And if G. Gordon Liddy was alive, he can play the police chief. Corey Parker's father.
Oh, that would go to J.K. Simmons now.
No, how far he would have fallen if he had to take that role. And so what, are you going to make the mother... Okay, I can't remember her name now.
Hannah Whittingham?
No. Does she even do film anymore?
I think so. Should.
Is she in the Brad Pitt documentary?
Well, she aged out of it. I mean, she never really fit in.
Hey, she was part of the culture in the 80s. But no, I was thinking more Allison Janney as the mother.
Oh yeah, no, she would work. Although she would want to get knocked around at the end.
She'd be like, "Can I at least stand up for myself at some point in this movie?"
Yeah, somebody with a soda can.
I've gotten tripped. They throw me down the stairs in my wheelchair. My daughter does all the fucking work. I just survive. You know. You could have James Franco play the stepfather role.
Oh Lord. Ooh.
Well, if you don't want to work with James, you could get Dave.
The age difference, though, was so weird.
And it's never mentioned, notice. But at least you understand why she dumped her husband for this younger man, who is a man who wears very nice sweaters.
Because he looked like Richard Gere.
Well, now you could probably put Richard Gere in the movie. But like I said, it's not good, but it's a good, I guess, just watch to laugh at this point movie, you know, because you can't take anything in this movie seriously. It's still better than the Stepfather remake with Dylan Walsh. So, I mean, you could remake this. You just have to think of a different angle. Or are you going to play it up the more campy parts of it?
Well, they would try to add more substance and gravitas to it, so all the campiness would be thrown out the window.
Yes, I'm like Tom Holland. Write and direct a new version of it the way it was supposed to be. You know, I'm all for it. So
he's still working.
So would you recommend this movie?
Oh no, hell no.
I give it a mild recommendation because just like again, as a guilty pleasure to watch, like, oh my God, they made this. This is truly one of those films where you can say it came from the 80s, y'all. But like I said, I give it a mild recommendation. It's not great, but look for it. Unfortunately, if you do watch it on YouTube, you're getting the censored version, which, I mean, if you have young kids who actually want to see this, it's the best way to go. Whereas, you know, the dirty version is truly the Michael Winner cut.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've only seen the sanitized version.
Oh, well, you're lucky. Because the scene where they take the Polaroid, it is graphic. I was like, so Michael Winner, you ever direct porn? Well, you did in that scene.
I wonder what his version of My Demon Lover would have been like.
I don't know, but that would have been. I've only seen My Demon Lover once. So that's one of those movies I wish I could find a copy of because I would like to watch it again.
It's on Turner Classic Movies now, which I thought was interesting.
I don't know if it's on any channel. Like, out of all the channels, that would not be the one I figure it would go up. It has to be one of them Friday night cult classic.
Yeah, that has to be.
Because I'm like, wait, what? TCL?
Just New Line Cinema.
Well, here's my thing. If we're going to put that on, fucking put Scream for Help on Turner Classic Movies.
The same version.
Exactly. This seems like something Roger Corman would have produced. Even though he would have been
Corman.
Exactly. Even though he would have been like, did the sex scene really need to be that long? and why couldn't it be more traditional missionary? What's with the doggy style? This is 84.
White people doing doggy style.
In 1984. That's in the winter.
Shell, upper class white folks.
Well, Brenda's not upper class. And as we find out later, Paul isn't upper class either, with his monologue of watching the rich people in town get away with stuff. And I was just like, really? This is.
And how does a man survive getting hit over the head hard with a trophy?
As the same guy, the same way a guy you would think would have been burned alive has a gaping side wound bleeding and has been alive for a week. Enough to sneak in. You know? It's the sense. And at any point was Dabney Coleman called to be in this film?
No, but he did a better movie, so rest in peace, Dabney Coleman.
Yes, Dabney Coleman could have been the police chief who didn't believe her despite all this evidence. Well, he's not going to play Paul. It would have been interesting for him to play the abusive husband.
Nobody wants to see Dabney Coleman fornicating.
Thank God. That's one thing you never saw to Dabney Coleman. He might have been his character might have been a pussy hound, but we never had to see him doing it.
Oh no, the ladies love Dabney Coleman.
And all these decades, and he managed to never have a sex scene. I don't know if that was by choice or if he was like, "Come on, guys, at least one."
It's like him and Howard Hessman. They magnetize the ladies around them.
You know who didn't magnetize the lady? Gene Hackman.
You didn't see Night Moves?
Yeah, where it's in title only. Gene Hackman doesn't have night moves. Gene Hackman just likes pissing everyone off.
That's true.
He's like, hey, night moves, schmite moves. He's probably like, my best work was that movie with Dan Aykroyd, where he played a schizophrenic. Loose cannons. It would be funny if that was like Gene Hackman. He ever gave it my best work was that and Welcome to Mooseport. Because I pretended to like Ray Romano. Be like, watch it, Gene Hackman. You're old enough. I still think people can kick your ass now.
Yeah, I think he was drunk all throughout Split Decisions. He just wanted to fight people.
He was like, they were like, here's your booze, sir, and here's your check. And he was like, I don't need script. I can do it. I'm sure, like, in the French Connection, he was probably like, oh, all that racist stuff, that wasn't in the script. That day.
No wonder he didn't get along with Friedkin.
Well, I can see Friedkin wasn't exactly the easiest person to get along with either. Maybe as a fan he is, but probably working with him, it was like, ooh, this is not the easy. I would not have wanted to work on that movie between him and Gene Hackman. It's just like, who do I go to talk to? I don't like either of them. That's why Roy Scheider was like, give me Sequest.
Yes, you could find in the Scheider.
Exactly. Roy Scheider was probably still like, where's the hot chicks? I'd be like, you forgot what set you're on. This is a Hackman set.
Another chick magnet.
Well, Friedkin was a chick magnet too. And so I'm like, the only chick repulsor was Gene Hackman. I like that we're dissing Gene Hackman and he's still alive on a Scream for Help episode. I'm just like, well, maybe it would have been better if William Friedkin made this movie. The acting definitely would have been better.
Oh, yeah, a million times better with Friedkin.
And probably a better cast. Not only a better cast, of, I'm sure he would have wanted to rewrite the script for more.
Uh-huh.
Well, he would have been a master at that car chase scene. And
yeah, that would have been one of the greatest car chases in history.
Would have been like, that is what this movie is remembered for. So, do you have anything else to say about Scream for Help?
No, just need some Bronson, maybe. That's about it.
Who the fuck would he play? The police chief? No, I don't believe you, little girl. You already know he doesn't like to talk. So it's like, was he gonna grimace at her on the phone? Like,
He could have like showed up in the girl's house at the room when the guy tries to kill her, the last guy, and then blows him away, and then we go to Death Wish 3 next year.
And with more rape. Be like, Michael Winter was just looking through. Maybe this was him trying to lighten things up, since he has that reputation for all these sex scenes and rapes. He was like, I need something. But then when he's looking through the script, he's like Michael Bay, like with action sequences,
emotional love scenes.
He does. Do you think Michael Winter knows how to do a love scene?
I've seen Death Wish 3.
Exactly. He can't even make Charles Bronson have a girlfriend be believable.
Unless it's his wife.
Which is really... They are the weird couple because they never... they don't have any on-screen chemistry in any role together, but yet he worshipped her.
Yeah, he would get pissed off at you if you cut her down.
So that's why I'm like... I guess it's like Ted Danson and Mary Steenburgen. Great couple, no chemistry on screen. So that is our talk for Scream for Help. And the 20 other people we talked about in this gossip session. And so I say go find it, watch the censored version. Tell us what you think. Is this a piece of shit? Or is this a camp classic? Until next time, we bid you adieu here at Unfinished Business Television.